Hi beautiful, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to do a glam makeup look using the products that you can find from supermarket. Now that we're currently on lockdown, it's kind of hard to order makeup online or to restock. Luckily enough for us that lives in New Zealand, Countdown, which is a grocery store, offers a variety of makeup. So the three main brands that they carry are Maybelline, Rimmel, and Wet n Wild. Sometimes it depends on the Countdown that you go to. The one that I visited definitely carries a few Revlon products and a few L'Oreal products. So for today's video, I have a full face of makeup that you'll find from the supermarket. So without further ado, let's hop right into the video. I'm not a fan of priming my face anymore, so I skipped on that. And besides, you could always find moisturizers from the grocery store that you can use as a primer. So I'm going to start my face today with the Maybelline Strobing Liquid, and this one is in the shade Medium Nude Glow. Now Maybelline is stocked at Countdown and I believe New World as well. So it really depends on where you go because some Countdown in New World is bigger than the other places. So you could definitely find an array of products. The one that is quite close to my house is pretty good because they carry a decent range of Maybelline products. Most of these products right here are under $30, which is amazing. Especially now, it's kind of hard to go out of the store and order online. If you really need some essential makeup products, drugstore is where it's at, and also supermarket because that's the place that we can only visit as of late. Personally, for me, I don't like to use high-end brow products, high-end primers, or high-end mascaras because I go through them quite frequently that there's no point of me spending $50-$60 for one item. I am going to start with this Rimmel London Brow Micro Pro pencil, and this one comes with a spoolie. And I think this is their newer product. I definitely had to go and purchase this because I don't have any eyebrow products that are available at our supermarket. So I gladly picked this up, and this one is in the shade Dark Brunette. So I'm just going to speed through this process because me filling my brows will take the whole entire video. The spoolie is a little bit scratchy, but once you kind of rub the top layer of the spoolie off, it's pretty okay and it blends the product pretty good. The brow pencil itself is pretty creamy, it's blendable, and the tip allows you to create very fine strokes, which I love. And I am shocked on how cool tone this eyebrow pencil is. I've definitely tried a brow pencil from Rimmel London previously, but the shade tends to go a lot warmer. This one, surprisingly enough, is pretty cool tone, which is favorable for me since I do have dark hair. For brow mascara, I have Wet n Wild Ultimate Brow Mascara, and this is what it looks like. So the one of this brow mascara is a little bit bigger than what you would hope for a brow mascara. But I mean, if the product is great, I don't really mind. The shade that I have is Brunette. This brow product right here says that it could fill in the gaps of your brows and setting your brows without leaving like a crusty finish. It also dries down to a more powder finish, which is great because that just means that the brows can last all throughout the day. So first impression, it definitely laid down the hairs on my brows. It's pretty easy to apply. It doesn't apply too much product, which is surprising considering the bristles on the brush is a little bit bigger than the usual brow mascara. And yeah, it did make my brows look a lot fuller. So I'm going to first prime my lids with the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. I already have Maybelline based products and I love them because for a very affordable price, They actually perform just like high-end, and it's very creamy. The sponge that I'm going to use to blend it with is from Wet n Wild. This is only $7, and oh my god, look how squishy it is. This is damn, it's such a good quality sponge. For $7, you won't need to break your bank, and it's just amazing. I've already purchased my backup of this because I absolutely love this. This is a lot better than the Real Techniques sponge, and it's a lot cheaper. It's like half the price. So to set my lids, I am going to use the Rimmel Stay Matte Pressed Powder, and this one is transparent, and I used to love this powder. This is probably my most repurchased powder back in the day, but I kind of stopped using it because I did find that my makeup looked a lot cakier, or maybe because I'm just piling matte on matte on matte. But now that I prefer more of a glowy primer and then somewhat of a matte foundation, it kind of balances them out. For eyeshadow today, I definitely have to repurchase this because I used to have this eyeshadow palette when it was in the old packaging, but because Wet n Wild recently reformulated and repackaged most of their products, I had to purchase it again. So this is the Color Icon eyeshadow palette, and this is in Comfort Zone, and I think they added 2 matte transition shades because when I first had this eyeshadow palette, they only had the shimmer, so I had to definitely use a different as a transition. So this is what the eyeshadow looks like. I'm leaning towards the greens. I'm not sure why. I have a weird obsession with green recently, so I'm going to start out with this transition shade right here. That's the lighter one. And Wet n Wild eyeshadow palettes are amazing. They're very affordable and the quality is amazing. So if you're on a budget and if you want to have an eyeshadow palette that you could definitely use your money's worth, I recommend Wet n Wild. I am going to pick up the darker one right here. This has got more of a plummy undertone, and I am going to use the same brush and just apply that on the same area where I applied the transition, but I'm going to focus a little bit on the lower part of the lid, just so we have warm eyeshadow that will going to peak whenever we put the darker shades on. So now I am going to pick up this shade right here. This has got a little bit of like glitters on it, but then I swatched it earlier and it comes off as this really dark green, and then once you apply that onto the lid and blend it out, the glitter particles kind of disappears. So I'm going to use my finger to pack that onto the lid, mainly on the lower part of the lid because I wanted to smoke it out. So then when we blend it, it's not gonna go all the way to the brow bone area. And now I'm going to use this Real Techniques brush, which you could definitely find in some supermarkets. I know it's weird, but some supermarkets here in New Zealand tend to carry a lot more variety of makeup brands as opposed to the others. I guess it depends on whether you live in the main city or not. And then I'm gonna go back to that plummy shade that we use to blend the edges, and then I'm going to go back to the first transition shade, which is the lighter one, just to blend above everything else. And now for the fun part. The reason why I wanted to put a base first before the actual product that we're going to use is because this shade right here is pretty interesting. When you swatch it, it's more of that green shade, but when you tilt it, it has a warm undertone. That's why I put that plummy shade as a transition, so I could pull that warm toned shade off that eyeshadow. So I'm going to pick up my finger to apply that. So then I am going to use the brush that we used before just to blend the edges. We still have the remaining product from the darker shade. So for the inner part of the lid, I am going to pick up this green shade right here, and that will act as our inner corner highlight. So I'm going to pop that on this area. So I'm just gonna quickly tightline my eyes with this. It's already rubbed off. I'm pretty sure this is the Wet n Wild Mega Lash retractable eyeliner. I've used this so much that everything is completely rubbed off. I am going to use a Wet n Wild mascara. So this is the Wet n Wild Mega Length Mascara. This is great for lengthening. It is smudge proof, and it also creates a nice feathered effect on the lashes. So this is what it looks like. The bristles definitely reminds me of the Rimmel London Accelerator mascara. So I'm just gonna quickly pop this on. So this mascara is great, but it absolutely did nothing on my lashes. I feel like this type of bristle is only great for the bottom lashes. So what I'm going to do is to actually use a different mascara. I have another one here from L'Oreal. This is a little bit pricier than Maybelline, Rimmel, and Wet n Wild, but you can also find this from selected Countdown stores. I have the L'Oreal by KARL Lagerfeld collaboration. Now moving on to the face, I have this Wet n Wild Rose Water Primer. So this is a 3-in-1 spray. You could use this as a primer, as a makeup fixer, or just a refresher in general. And this is from Wet n Wild. Foundation today, I have this Maybelline Matte and Poreless foundation. I love this foundation so much. And Maybelline is such a great brand, and also they offer a wide range of foundation. For concealer, we're going to go back to the Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. It's such a great concealer, and the shade that I have is Medium Moyen. It is a little bit peachy against my skin tone, but I find that it acts like a corrector as well as it brightens the certain parts of my face. So I'm just gonna highlight with this as well because the foundation is looking a little bit darker than my skin tone. I am going to quickly just set my under eye before I move on to cream contour. I'm going to go back to the Rimmel Stay Matte powder, and I'm just gonna grab the sponge. I actually have been loving setting my face with a sponge because it really deposits the product, as well as it takes away a little bit of shine on the face as well, and it doesn't like rub the product off. To cream contour, another favorite, this is the Rimmel Insta Duo Contour Stick. I have used this a few times in videos, and there was one point where I religiously just used this. I do use this on the daily whenever I want to skip bronzer, and just apply this product and set it with a translucent powder. It just works amazing, and also it's pretty blendable. And I am going to just quickly set my face with the same powder. I have this Maybelline City Bronzer. My packaging already broke. I love this bronzer, though I don't use this on the daily because I have other bronzers that I prefer using. But this is such a great bronzer. I have the shade Medium Cool, which sits on more of a neutral yellow bronzer. It's not too orange, it's not too red, and it will definitely give you that sun-kissed glow. I'm not going to apply too much because we already have that contour stick underneath. This is just to kind of set the product as well as add a little bit of warmth to our face. I'm actually quite excited using this product because I've never used this before. This is the Rimmel London Max Blush. Now I picked up the shade Wild Card on the countdown that I went to, they had 2 shades. The other one is a little bit paler than this, but then I figured it might not show up on my skin tone. So this is a nice matte blush. Typically you don't often find a matte blush from the drugstore, and this is pretty pigmented, so we're just gonna dab a little bit of that. And this blush claims to last throughout the day, giving you a nice flush, which I do agree with the nice flush. This shade right here is perfect for my skin tone, and it kind of complements the eye look as well. And for highlighter, it's between the Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter or the Wet n Wild. Of course I have to choose the Wet n Wild. I've had this longer than the Maybelline and I absolutely love this. Again, the packaging already broke on mine, but as you can see, it is well loved. I've already kind of hit like a dip on this area right here because that's the area where I typically put my brush on, but it's such a good highlighter. So if you don't have this, definitely pick up the Maybelline Master Chrome, but I feel like for the price you pay, this Wet n Wild highlighter is a lot cheaper than the Maybelline. It's only $13 and the quality is amazing. It's very opaque, it's very pigmented, and it's under $20. Like, you could definitely intensify this by spraying your face first with a setting spray and then applying this on top, but I'm fine with just building it up. So for lower lash line, I'm not gonna do the darker shade because I don't want to close off my eyes. Instead, I am going to pick up this plum shade right here, which is the darker transition shade, to add a little bit of warmth to the eyes. And then I'm going to pick up just a teeny tiny bit of that green shade, the darker one that we use, just on here. I'm going to pick up that light green shade once again and apply a little bit of that on the lower lash line. I am going to go back to using the Wet n Wild mascara. I feel like honestly this is going to work a lot better on lower lash line, which I am right because it hugs all the lashes on the lower lash line, and also the bristle is pretty tiny. So both of these lip products I'm going to use are from Wet n Wild. I am going to line my lips with this Color Icon lip liner in the shade Chestnut. This is only $3, guys, but look how long it is. This will last you for the entire year. For lipstick, I have the Wet n Wild Liquid Catsuit Matte Liquid Lipstick, and this one is in the shade Nudist Peach. This is a little bit bright, but once it's paired with the Chestnut lip liner, it kind of darkens it and makes it into a more warm tone nude. But I do like a little bit of shine, so I am going to use this Maybelline lipstick, and this one is called Rouge Laver Color Sensational, and this is the shine version, and I have the shade Chocolate Lust, which is the orangey brown tone. And last but not the least, we are going to set our face using the Wet n Wild Rose 3-in-1 Primer Water. Here is my final makeup look. Now, all the products that I use are under $30. All of these products are available from Countdown or New World, depending on where you live, and this is in New Zealand. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I actually had a great time filming this makeup look and doing this makeup because every time I see a product that is very affordable but has a very good quality, I get so excited, and deep inside I feel a little bit emotional because you don't have to spend a lot of money to get glam like this. Obviously I'm missing lashes, but that's just a personal preference. So yeah, please do keep safe, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.